His remarks are titled, From Pipe Dreams to Pipelines. Please join me in welcoming Hisham Youssef.
I've been fortunate to spend the last 5 years studying medicine here at Harvard. Throughout my time here, I've been at the forefront of recruitment and mentoring efforts for applicants from marginalized communities and communities of color, two communities that intersect more often than not. To me, such work has become a calling. You see, I'm Black and Sudanese, yet equally Arab, and no less than that, a proud Muslim. People don't know quite where to place me. And for a long time, I wasn't quite sure where to place myself. You see, we live in a time in which mainstream media and leading political figures malign Islam and vilify Muslims, Arabs, and African Americans alike. Islamophobic attacks, surveillance of my community spaces, racial bigotry, police brutality, and stop and frisk programs are all included free of charge with my morning coffee. It seems that each day, I have to justify my right to belong as an American due to some controversial segment of my identity. The solution I came up with was straightforward: building pipelines. Now, I know what you're all thinking. He's Arab, but I'm actually not talking about oil. Let me share a fact with you. There are fewer Black men in medical school today, in 2016, than there were in 1978. Think about that for a second. There are fewer Black males applying and matriculating to medical schools today than there were nearly 4 decades ago. This statistic is perplexing to many, but to me, it's hardly surprising. I think back to when I was in college, sitting amongst a group of friends. They asked me, "So, what are you going to study?" I responded, "I'm thinking about going to medical school." They laughed hysterically for what felt like an eternity. "You? A doctor?" Those were the same words that my hospitalized diabetic patient uttered to me as she handed me her partially finished food tray. "You? A doctor?" I can't recount the number of times I've been assumed not to be a doctor because of the color of my skin, or even mistaken for a room intruder. The painful reality is that people don't expect Black males, or frankly, individuals from marginalized communities, to be in positions of influence or prestige. These anecdotes and behaviors transmit a hidden yet destructive message. No matter how qualified, educated, or dedicated, I, or others who come from similar life circumstances, cannot be taken seriously and could not possibly belong as productive, contributing members of society. That's where the pipeline comes in. Every year in mid-April, Harvard Medical School invites accepted students for a second look. And every year, I, along with other dedicated students and faculty, spend those days hosting, chatting with, answering questions from minority students from Black and Latino backgrounds, LGBTQI, Muslim, you name it. One of the reasons that people choose not to attend Harvard year after year is that they don't believe that Harvard has an institutional commitment to the career advancement of individuals from minority communities. In short, they don't see the pipeline. Building a successful pipeline at Harvard means walking into a classroom and seeing yourself reflected amongst other students and faculty. It means walking into a hospital or research institution and meeting trainees, physicians, and other researchers from your communities who are 5, 10, or 20 years ahead of you. It's that moment when you can look at someone and think to yourself, that could be me in 10 years. Getting there is by no means easy. It means engaging with communities in a way that extends beyond a day-long diversity training or a cultural competence module completed online. It means building long-term relationships and understanding the needs of individuals from underrepresented and marginalized communities. During my 5 years, I've seen wonderful examples of community engagement and intersectionality in working towards more inclusive, diverse, and stronger Harvard. I've worked alongside many of you as we've organized conferences, drafted petitions, protested broken policies, all with one goal: advocating on behalf of our communities. Today, we graduate at a unique moment. We're positioned at a time when social consciousness is growing and movements continue to shift the national discourse. As socially conscious individuals, we must realize that manifestations of systemic discrimination and inequity exist at the highest echelons of our institutions of higher learning, even here at Harvard. Moving forward in our careers, we must remain committed to openly confronting and challenging these issues. Today, we walk as Harvard graduates. That connects us, binds us. So continue to learn from each other, lean on each other, and remain steadfast and relentless in your pursuit of justice. I'm not asking you to pay it back. Well, I mean, if you have loans like me, the interest rates are staggering. You may want to pay it back. No, but seriously. As graduates today, we're inheritors of tremendous opportunity and privilege. Pay it forward. The acclaimed poet Khalil Gibran, who spent much of his youth in Boston, once said that a single leaf turns not yellow, but with the silent knowledge of the whole tree. We're all responsible in some way, and my message to you is not to shirk that duty. Don't pay it back, pay it forward. Send the ladder down, extend your hand, and lift someone up. Let's build these pipelines together. Thank you.